We continue with Mr. Hall's testimony.
Really? You've got to quit lying. What? Do you think that every law enforcement officer and highway patrolman in every state and highway between here and Eagan, Minnesota drive off the road the instant when they know I'm driving right by them? Are you stupid or what?
And that last part is my actual. When they disagree with you or write something you don't agree with, they're stupid. Is that correct?
No. It's so outlandish to believe that I would be swerving all over the road with one headlight and all these things that they're talking about that and my headlight didn't go out until I was actually in Eagan, Minnesota, when it got cold and the headlight went out, and I replaced it up there when it went out. And in fact, I replaced it as soon as I got up there.
I'm sure the only problem with Mr. Hall's bucket is that there's a headlight out.
And to be clear, they must be stupid. Is that correct?
No, I think that I might have been a little bit angry after the death of my son. I'm not the same way that I used to be back then, because after the senseless death of my son and then the kids being molested on top of that, I think that's a little bit enough to make anyone miserable and a little bit angry.
There's another person in this room that also lost a son. He seems to forget that.
So, since we're going to get into stuff, let's go to that same page.
Okay.
All the way down at the bottom, line 29 and 30. Okay, you wrote, hell, Judge Sullivan even asked me, if you need more time, just call me. You wrote that.
Yes, I did.
Is it your testimony today that Judge Sullivan, a district court judge in this family court, told you you could call him directly?
He didn't say to call him directly. He said call the court.
Okay. But you wrote call me.
Well, he said just call me, referring to the court.
Okay.
He didn't give me his personal phone number or his cell phone. That's some crack smoking.
Some what now?
That's some crack smoking. Judge wouldn't do that. And he did say that, by the way, I have the video. Would you like the video?
No.
I got it, if you need it.
This inadequate judge is doing nothing about all this back talk and sass going on.
Mr. Hall, I'd like you to turn to the next proposed exhibit. It's tab number 10, date stamp PLA 0045.
There's a lot more good stuff in here, man. You sure you don't want to read the rest of it?
What is even going on right now? Is this even a courtroom?
It's
What?
It's pretty good. But go ahead, tab 10.
Sir, are you
Well,
speaking to people else that are not part of this trial?
No, I'm talking to him.
Mr. Hall is obviously putting on a show for a person named Steve sitting in the public gallery. On lunch break, I bet they have a real good laugh about it. That's what these VIP guys do.
Okay.
He's the attorney, isn't he?
We're going to take a break in 25 minutes
Okay.
for the record.
Are you on 10?
I'm on 10.
Would you review that text fairly briefly?
I'm not aware of this text, but I'm not saying I didn't get it, but I do not recall it.
You didn't send this particular text.
Hold on. I'm not saying I didn't send it. I'm saying I don't recall it. I mean, this has been 3 years of living hell.
Yeah, with you.
Going on 4. You're asking me to do every single text message I've ever written that between 4 years. I don't even think you can do that.
The judge is doing nothing, and it's beginning to piss me off.
I don't even think you can do that. You're pretty studly.
Mr. Hall, you've reviewed this document. Is that in fact a text you sent to Ms. Loftus?
I couldn't. I don't recall.
So you cannot say today that that is in fact you?
I cannot.
Okay.
What's the date of the text, counsel?
December 19th, 2016. I'll attempt to admit it through the point.
Guess what? I don't remember every text I sent 2 years ago.
This judge. I swear to God, man.
Okay, it's not coming in.
Alright. Proposed exhibit 11.
11.
Bait stamp PLA 0047.
Oh. 4647. Okay.
Do you recall, and to be clear, these are dated July 2017. Do you recall this series of exchanges in text?
I don't.
You do not recall having a conversation where Ms. Loftus asked for the key code to get into your apartment complex and you refused to provide it?
All I know about that, I remember having having a conversation with her about it.
You either do or you don't. For God's sake.
And the thing was this: my apartment complex, it was Solis by at Flamingo, and they specifically warned us we are not to give the gate code out to outside people.
Not even my ex-wife and mother of my children. Mr. Hall is also not allowed to have friends over. Steve sneaks in anyway.
Unless the person was vetted throughout the company and was on the lease. It's a gate code. And we're especially going to be held responsible if the person had any type of convictions. We would be evicted.
Okay. So, given that recollection, do you recall this conversation?
I don't, but I'm just telling you what the deal is.
All right. In reviewing it, does it sound accurate to your conversation regarding not getting the...
I'm not sure, but sort of, yeah. I guess. Maybe.
I believe he's validated sufficient.
I don't think so.
Objection on proposed exhibit
Objection.
11.
What's your objection?
My objection is because I don't recall doing this particular text.
Are
If
you
I
telling
did,
me that you can't authenticate it?
I cannot authenticate it.
It's not coming in through this witness, but it might come in through your client.
Yep.
More undeserved help from the judge.
Mr. Hall, would you turn to proposed exhibit 12?
12 it is.
When the wife takes the stand, I think things will begin to make more sense.
The record, the bait stamp in the bottom right-hand corner is PLA 0072.
I got it.
Okay. Do you recognize this document?
This document was probably sent to Mom because I never got it.
You didn't receive this document?
I don't think so.
Okay. Mr. Hall, I'm going to direct your attention to the bottom of that page
The lawyer and Mr. Hall have the same hairline.
where it says parent signature dated 23 February 2017.
That is my signature.
And that is your name
That is my name for the rest of my life.
with father written next to it?
Yeah, I was right, Father. That's the biggest title and the greatest title I'll ever have in this world and out of it.
Blah, 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 blah.
So, given that that's your signature that you received this, do you recall receiving this letter now?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I don't recall receiving a letter, but yeah. Obviously, I signed it.
And do you know what this document is?
Yes, it's a document from Miss Hobson.
Imagine being able to forget about all those times you were served.
What exactly is it?
You can't ask him what it is until you move to admit it.
That is your signature?
Hold on for a second. I'm reading. Yep, I see it.
Okay. In fact, I'd like you to turn back to PLA 0071.
0071, okay.
And this is it fair to say this was your disclosure of proposed exhibits?
Looks like it is.
Your name, upper left-hand corner?
And my signature.
Okay. So it was your intention when you
Counsel,
disclosed?
it's still not admitted.
I know. These were your proposed exhibits, correct?
Yeah, it looks like it is.
Okay. I move to admit the entirety of proposed exhibit 12.
Any objection?
Oh my God.
If I could, ma'am, I'd object to everything he does.
Would
I
that
object
be-
to him breathing.
Mr. Hall just said, I object to him breathing. This is all a VIP show.
Would
I
that
object
be-
to him breathing. Okay. What's next?
It's in.
At this moment, Mr. Hall is controlling the entire courtroom.
All right. Do you recall asking Mr. Toady regarding questions about your access to educational information?
Yes.
Okay. This is in fact a...
It wasn't educational information, it was medical information.
All right. But you also stated it regarding education as well, correct?
Education, some education, but I don't care so much about education now that, thank God, Judge Pomerantz has put him in public school.
Family Court Judge Sandra Pomerantz, who was described by attorneys as someone who is drunk on her own power and runs a dictatorial courtroom.
Now they're in school, so now there's more of a monitor from the state than there is, even though Katz Elementary is a joke for a school.
Even though, thank God, they're in school.
And even though we're 50th out of all 50 states, we're the last state in the union, even that's better than the homeschooling they were getting.
You're probably a shitty teacher. Mr. Hall just likes taking them shopping for binders.
I'm vehemently against homeschooling, against public school, but public school is infinitely better than what they were receiving.
Yeah. Mr. Hall, looking at what is state stamp PLA 0072, you've already said that is your signature in the bottom, correct?
Hold on, let me go back to 727172. Yes.
That is actually a letter called the Response to Intervention from the school indicating that your child's having academic problems, correct?
Yes, he was, if I recall correctly, he was having speech problems, as with the other 5 children that Vanessa had.
Until I see differently, I'm just going to believe that old lady in the judge's robe is asleep.
As with the other 5 children that Vanessa had.
All right.
And
you were
I'm not
actually
finished answering the question, counsel.
You were actually.
No, I'm not.
Your Honor.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Really?
Go.
Mr. Hall is way worse than Michael McDonald. I never thought I'd say that about anybody.
Go ahead.
You have to listen.
The kids
to,
were dealing.
Sir, you
Yes,
have to listen to Mr. Grimes' question. You can only answer the question he asked, not the one that you want to answer.
Yes, sir.
So, you will have time after Mr. Grimes is done to make statements to the court as though you were cross-examining yourself.
Okay.
But please, let's let this move forward and let's not turn this into an argument.
Oh, that already happened. You were napping.
Yes,
Or
sir.
a free-for-all.
You betcha.
It don't work that way in my court.
I know. Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Mr. Grimes, ask your next question.
Mr. Hall, you were noticed that there was a desire for intervention regarding education services, correct?
The children were exhibiting.
That's just a yes or no, sir.
To answer the question in full, it's not a yes or no. The children were exhibiting problems with their speech, and with their and with his recognition of letters. He was so behind when he first came into school. They needed an intervention when they were being homeschooled.
Objection, move to strike, non-responsive to the question.
Oh,
And each of these documents you actually received, correct? That's contained within Exhibit 12.
No.
You were invited to attend IEP meetings, correct?
I went to, yes, I was invited to attend IEP meetings. Most of the meetings I had was with the teachers directly.
He was invited to parent-teacher conferences.
You didn't attend the IEP meeting, did you?
I talk to the teachers directly. I don't attend meetings with the plaintiffs since there's domestic violence issues. I've been attacked by them
Objection,
multiple times.
non-responsive, move to strike.
Overruled.
Okay. Did you attend the 504 meeting?
I might have. It was many years ago, over 2 years ago.
I would direct your attention to PLA 0083.
This is all part of the same.
All part of the same exhibit.
My initials in the upper right. Well, 83. Hold on, let me get to 83.
This whole project is just paper flipping. I wish I could mute all the flippin' papers. And that's not a substitute for a swear word. The paper flipping is driving me crazy.
That page is titled Section 504 Evaluation Summary and Accommodation Plan, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It references your son, Storm, is that correct?
Yeah, it does at the top.
Meeting date is listed as December 19th, 2017, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And your name does not appear, nor does your signature, correct?
That is correct. I don't attend these meetings with them. I usually have a separate one done for me.
Because Mr. Hall is the most special parent in the school.
So, again, asking the question, you didn't attend the 504 meeting, correct?
That is not necessarily true. I probably did.
You just finished saying you didn't and that you only go to special ones just for you.
But they normally do a separate one for me than they do for her because of her domestic violence issues that she has attacked me multiple times. Which this judge has even seen the first one in 2009. It was horrific.
I keep wondering why the judge isn't doing anything. She isn't saying anything about any of this outlandish behavior. She did say this was the shooting match.
Blood in my urine from my kidneys.
All right.
Bruises the size of footballs.
I would direct your attention to proposed Exhibit 26, please.
26.
Exhibit what?
Proposed Exhibit 26. Bait stamp PLA 0104.
Mm-hmm. Got it right here.
Okay. Does it at the top say Dr. B's Dentistry
It
for
does.
Children?
Does Mr. Hall act this way 24/7? Yes, he does.
Dated at the bottom right-hand corner, 8 February 2016?
Sure does.
And that is your signature
It
as parent
is.
or guardian?
You better believe it is.
I move to admit this as Exhibit 26.
I'm sorry?
I move to admit it as Exhibit 26.
Okay.
No objection. Do you recall making statements while Mr.
Wait a minute. I haven't ruled.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For that, the attorney is yelled at, but Mr. Hall can do whatever he wants.
Have you ever seen Exhibit 26?
No. Well, yeah, I have. I'm
Okay.
looking at it right now.
Okay. Does this appear to be a true and a correct copy of that particular page that you received?
It does. I think I had to fill it out and give it to them. I don't think I got a copy of it.
All right, then let me look at it.
To be clear, Mr. Hall, that is your signature?
I think it is.
Do you recall your testimony or your questioning stating that you were cut off from medical information regarding your children?
I was not cut off from medical information regarding my children. What I was cut off from was the ability to be involved in them being drugged for ADHD only. Judge Pomerantz gave Mom authority to go and seek out a doctor and to medicate the children without me being involved. Now, I could go to the doctor and question the doctor, or I could go to the doctor and give the doctor additional information that could help
I'm sure the doctor needs your extra information.
making better decisions for my son. But the last all, end all, and end all was with the doctor and Mom.
Can't you just see him telling a doctor what to do?
Mom has refused to give me any access to those doctors.
Okay. And you did, in fact, have this information regarding the dental care of your children, correct?
For a long time I didn't.
Okay.
For many months I didn't.
Mr. Hall, I'd like to direct your attention to the middle of the page where it says parent or guardian information.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and you lined out the part that says mother, is that correct?
Where's that?
Right in the middle of the page.
Where
it says name, Burke Hall.
In the middle of the page? You're talking about...
PLA 0104, right in the middle of the page.
.104.
This is all a pathetic show by a pathetic man for the entertainment of another pathetic man.
104. Okay, I think I got 104 right here. Now, what does it say?
Do you see where your name is listed as a parent or guardian?
Yes, it says Burke Hall, Dad.
All right. You marked out the part that says mother and wrote daddy over it?
I didn't... Yeah, because they were asking for my information.
Okay. Now let's go to the next section down below where it says parent or guardian information, father or guardian.
Did the judge just swallow a moth? That scared the hell out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that section?
Yep.
Who did you list there?
I put Miriam Williams because she's the caregiver that takes care, was at the time taking care of my kids. She was authorized by DFS to take care of them.
Okay. And to be clear, you didn't list Vanessa at all, did you?
No, I didn't. Is there a reason I should have? She never lists me on any of hers.
Mr. Grimes, can we move to at least maybe the second half of 2017? You were not on the case when I was on the case. There were a number of things that happened in 2016 that may not be entirely pertinent today, that may have affected the conduct of both parties at that time.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going over the old stuff that I'm aware of, but I'm also aware, maybe more than you are, of the context of all of those events.
Okay.
So, because they were pretty much happening at the beginning of 2016, because that was shortly after the death of the minor child, the younger one. So, as I'm looking at this case, I'm one of those judges. I like to spend a lot of time on where do we go from here.
You can't do that until you submit the evidence that got you there in the first place.
As opposed to rehashing and asking him questions, for example, about this form. There's context to that. There was a DFS investigation going on. There was a juvenile dependency case going on. There were placements going on. And there was a criminal proceeding going on. That was in 2016. I'm more interested in maybe going to maybe the second half of 2017 and moving forward, because I find it's very counterproductive, and Mr. Hall might not like to hear me say that, to spend too much time dwelling on the past.
No, I understand that, Your Honor, and I'm not trying to beat things, but
I'm trying to do what's right for these kids, and that is looking forward. It is not, and again, contextually, because I've had this case for so long, whether in this particular case number or otherwise, I am aware that some of the things, for example, like this document, If taken out of context, they look wrong, but within the context of what was going on at the time, I understand the document, and I would want, if this ever gets appealed, for the Supreme Court to be able to understand that if you look at this document without the context under which this document may have been prepared, it doesn't look right. But if you look at the context of what was going on at the time, it does make sense. And I'm going to make sure that that's on the record should anybody decide to appeal, because I think we not look at 2016. I mean, that's sort of to Mr. Hall's chagrin.
Chagrin. Distress or embarrassment at having failed or been humiliated.
What I've been trying to do is to try and think forward, because these kids are still kids, and they don't suffer from too much love. And I want them to have the best possible chance to succeed. So that's where I'm looking. And some of it, yeah, you kind of have to look at the past, but you also have to concentrate more on their future and what's in their best interest moving forward.
Is Mr. Hall the best thing going forward? After this performance?
Your Honor, my only point is certain things need to be admitted. I have to admit them, and then I intend to move on.
But again, they have to be admitted in the context of the timing in which they occurred.
Right.
And the timing here, this case, when I looked at the date, I realized I'm not troubled by this document.
Sure.
Because at the time, your client didn't have much or had very limited contact with the children. But yet, they may still have needed dental care.
Okay.
And with that, we're going to go off the record for an hour.
Okay. Back at 1:30.
This madness will continue after lunch. Some will say they had a good morning. Others will say it was awful.